Last season in 2022, Trevor Lawrence and this Jaguars team exceeded expectations. This Jaguars team found themselves in a 3-7 hole in the AFC South. They rally all the way back to a 9-8 record. They win the AFC South, and Trevor Lawrence goes into the wild card round down 27 points, finds himself coming back out on top with the third largest comeback in NFL playoff history. Then this Jaguars team goes on the road to Arrowhead Stadium and nearly beats the reigning and defending Super Bowl champions in Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And Trevor Lawrence going into year 3, the expectations were through the roof for himself and this Jaguars team as a whole. Trevor Lawrence was placed into MVP conversations. He was talked about as one of the young, ascending elite quarterbacks in the game of football, and the Jaguars were labeled as an AFC title favorite. And while this whole offseason was going on and throughout the beginning parts of this season, Trevor Lawrence's haters, his doubters, and his naysayers, all of his critics, they have spoken the loudest. And I'm here to tell you right here, right now, Trevor Lawrence has officially silenced the critics. Now, before we go ahead and get into today's video, if you guys please could, go ahead and drop me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe bell to stay tuned for more Jaguars content that I do here on YouTube. And make sure you guys also go ahead and follow me on my socials, especially on Twitter or X. The link tree will be in the description down below, so you guys can actually go ahead and check that out. But Jaguar fans and football fans, let's actually go ahead and talk about Trevor Lawrence in today's video. Now, for anybody that follows sports and follows the game of football, we all understand that inherently the quarterback position is the most important position in all of football. And fair or not, the quarterbacks always get the praise, they always get the blame. If the team is winning and he is playing well, he's going to get the praise. And if the team finds themselves in the losing column, even if the quarterback is playing well, they will take the blame. They are the head of the team. They are the face of the team. And the quarterbacks get the praise when they're doing good. They get the blame when they're doing bad, fair or unfair. And we also understand that the quarterback position is extremely dependent when you talk about the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the play calling, the schemes, even the offensive line protecting for him, the receivers catching for him, etc. The quarterback position is so dependent on all the other players around him in order to make him successful. And Trevor Lawrence is a byproduct of that in year 3. Now, I'm going to specifically talk about 3 of Trevor Lawrence's biggest critics that is in the Jags community. I'm not going to play the clips due to copyright reasons, but I went ahead and I listened to the clips, and I'm going to quote each of these analysts word for word, so you guys can go ahead and follow with me. Now, I'm going to start with former NFL running back for the Philadelphia Eagles, LaShawn McCoy, and I quote, "I think he's way better," in reference to a Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Herbert debate. When I watch Trevor Lawrence, right, I think he's got some talent, but I don't see what everyone gets so hype about. When you usually watch the Jags play, ETN is the running back, right? It goes through him. I haven't seen Trevor Lawrence do that, in reference to Trevor Lawrence carrying the load. They run the ball well, and if that doesn't work, then the offense don't be that great. Now let's talk about another former NFL player, Richard Sherman, Legion of Boom, Seattle Seahawks. We know how great he is. This was on Twitter. "Having a statistical season that backs exactly what I said about him. He has been more of a game manager than a generational talent. 12 touchdowns to 7 interceptions in 11 games isn't impressive. Sorry. The team is doing good, which is great. Doesn't change the narrative. Go look at his total yards for the year and how many QBs he's behind. Then you will start to get it. The rookie he faced today, as in CJ Stroud, has 600 more yards and 7 more touchdowns with less weapons and less excuses." Richard Sherman, probably a future Hall of Famer at the cornerback position for you, ladies and gentlemen. And last but not least, public enemy number 1, Chris Broussard of First Things First on FS1, and I quote, "Look, I don't think Trevor is a game manager, but he has got the numbers of a game manager. This is where he ranks this season." He proceeds to list off some of his stats, and this is all prior to the San Francisco game. It's all mediocre. Those are metrics, and those are all counting stats. Mediocre. And that's a compliment. He doesn't even have one 3-touchdown game this year. He has one 300-plus yard passing game this year. I think he's good, but he looks like right now, game manager. Now, a lot of people might not take Chris Broussard's comment that I had a quote right there and say, well, he wasn't being disrespectful. He's just saying that he's playing like a game manager. Anybody who watches the Jaguars, anybody who has watched Trevor Lawrence or any kind of tape on him knows and understands Trevor Lawrence is not a game manager. Now, actually moving past some of his more notable critics, let's actually go ahead and talk about Trevor Lawrence, what he's done this season, where he has this Jaguars team as of right now. Now, I'm recording this video on a Monday, November 27th, so these are the stats as of right now. The Jaguars are 8-3. They are number 1 in the AFC South, and they are number 3 in the AFC right now. Trevor Lawrence is averaging a career high in average yards per pass at 7.4, quarterback rating with a 61.5 scale of 0 to 100, and incompletion percentage at a 67.3 passing completion percentage. The Jaguars also, to put that into perspective, have 18 total drops on this season, which is tied for 9th worst. Per Pro Football Focus, Trevor Lawrence is ranked 6th among all quarterbacks in passing grade with an 83. He's tied for 10th in offensive grade among all quarterbacks with an 85.7 grade, and he's tied for 4th among all NFL quarterbacks in big time throws with 24 such throws. Big time throws are labeled as a pass with excellent ball location and timing, generally thrown further down the field and or into a tighter window. And let's take a look at the most notable and recent play. After the Jaguars got their absolute asses handed to them by the San Francisco 49ers, the Jaguars had 2 back-to-back weeks with AFC South divisional opponents, with the Colts and with the Texans playing exceptionally well, and the Jaguars had to continue to build that lead and build that cushion in the AFC South, and guess what? They took care of business, and so did Trevor Lawrence. When you look at weeks 11 and 12 versus the Tennessee Titans at home and at NRG Stadium, Trevor Lawrence completed in those 2 weeks 47 of 70 passes for 626 yards, 3 touchdowns passing, 3 touchdowns rushing. He also won AFC Offensive Player of the Week in Week 11 over the Tennessee Titans. And let's also talk about when the Jaguars were absolutely on their hot streak, led by their quarterback, who is far from a game manager, Trevor Lawrence. If you go back to the month of October in 2022, the Jaguars went 0-5. Fast forward one season, the Jaguars this past October went 5-0. They were on a 5-game win streak in the month of October. Now let's actually talk about those 5 games and how impressive it was, because the Jaguars won all 5 of those games in 5 different stadiums. How many teams in the NFL can say that in 5 consecutive weeks they won 5 straight games in 5 different stadiums? Not many, so prove it to me. Jacksonville win 2 games in London, both in different stadiums, one versus the Atlanta Falcons and another one versus the Buffalo Bills. They come back to Jacksonville, come back to the United States, and they beat up on the Indianapolis Colts. Then on a short week, they travel to New Orleans. They beat the New Orleans Saints in primetime football in a game in which Trevor Lawrence was a game-time decision with a minor knee injury, and he plays lights out, leads the Jaguars to victory. And then the following week, they go up to Pittsburgh in a hostile environment, inclement weather, and the Jaguars find a way to get their 5th consecutive win. The Jaguars win 2 in London, 1 in Jacksonville, 1 in New Orleans, and 1 in Pittsburgh. How many quarterbacks and how many teams can say that they've done that? I don't know too many, and I know that Trevor Lawrence has been the reason why this Jaguars team has been successful. The defense has been great, Travis Etienne has been great, but none of these fits and none of these parts work in the win column if it's not without your quarterback. And I don't know too many teams that can do that. I don't know too many quarterbacks that can do that. Trevor Lawrence has been the most reliable and dependable quarterback the Jaguars have had since Mark Brunell, and Trevor Lawrence has consistently put this team on his back. He's clutch, everyone rallies around him, and everyone believes in this guy. Now, really getting into my final point with all of this, is Trevor Lawrence a perfect quarterback? No. Find me a perfect quarterback. There's not one out there. Trevor Lawrence has his idiotic moments. He has his boneheaded plays just like any other quarterback, especially when you talk about 1st and goal in the red zone versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, throws an interception. You talk about plays where he runs with the ball and he's getting hit from the blind side and he's not protecting the ball. Boneheaded play. It happens. There's also a multitude of occasions where the offensive line gives him no protection. The offensive play calling is so sporadic, so up and down, and so inconsistent. I don't think many quarterbacks in the NFL could succeed with that kind of offensive line and with that kind of play calling from Press Taylor. And the Jaguars have 18 drops. I'm going to harp on it again. 18 drops this season. It's unacceptable. Calvin Ridley had one in the first half in the Houston Texans game that was a dart on a rope from Trevor Lawrence dropped in the end zone. People that genuinely watch the box score love to absolutely tear down Trevor Lawrence when these guys don't watch the film, they don't analyze the game, and they don't see how impressive Trevor Lawrence has been this season. When you have a quarterback that is genuinely a franchise quarterback, can take a 3-7 team, lead them to an AFC South divisional crown, win a playoff game down 27, not get rattled after throwing 4 first-half interceptions, comes all the way back to win that game, and follows that up with an impressive playoff performance the following week, everyone believes in this guy. Trevor Lawrence has the talent, he's got the moxie, he's got the attitude, he's got the character, and he's got the intellect to be a phenomenal quarterback, and he's displayed that on a week in and week out basis since coming into the league. His progression has been sensational. It's evident. And Trevor Lawrence has the arm talent. He has the ability to evade pressure. He has the ability to put the team on his back when it matters the most, and everyone rallies around that guy. That is why he's a franchise quarterback. That is why he is a borderline top 5 quarterback and one of the elite young quarterbacks in the game of football today. When you have a quarterback that encompasses and embodies all of that, that is what makes a quarterback special. Stop watching the box score, start looking at the game, and Trevor Lawrence is going to continue to silence the doubters. Y'all keep y'all's opinions, and we're going to keep winning games. Now, before I really wrap up this video, I just also want to say a quick PSA to all Jags fans. This is the first Jags video I've made since the Jaguars got their asses whooped by the San Francisco 49ers. I had no Jags content in the weeks from weeks 11 to 12 for the Titans and the Texans game. I just want to say first and foremost, I apologize. You know, I really do my best to try to continuously produce content, but also still find ways to focus on me, myself, my mental health, other areas of my life. I'm really trying, you guys, so just please bear with me. I hit a little bit of a bump in the road, but I promise through this moment forward, through the rest of the Jags season, all the way through February, I'm going to be a lot more consistent with the content, and I know you guys see that I work and I cover all the Orlando Magic home games as well too, so I'm very busy with that as well too, because my Magic are playing undoubtedly as one of the best teams in the NBA as well too. So I just wanted to say I'm very sorry for that, so thank you guys for sticking with me. But Jaguar fans and NFL fans, if you guys enjoyed today's video and you guys enjoyed today's Trevor Lawrence propaganda and agenda that I'm pushing, please go ahead and drop me a thumbs up. It takes 1 second and it helps me and the channel out tremendously. If you guys are new here, consider hitting that subscribe bell to stay tuned for more Jaguars content that I do here on YouTube. And like I said, make sure you guys also go ahead and follow me on my socials, especially on Twitter. I'm very active and I'm on there every single day. You guys will find the link tree in the description down below. But Jaguar fans, NFL fans, thank you guys again for sticking around throughout the whole video. Brett James, aka BJ, I'm out, y'all. And like always, let's go Jags. Peace.